What's up, beautiful people? I'm Erin, and this is Erin on Demand. And today we are talking about 3 things I am doing to make my business survive without me. Now, if you are new here, this is a part of my Millionaire in a Year series where I am on the quest to become a millionaire in 1 year. So I've had to do a little soul searching with a little bit of financial planning to really boil down what are the 3 most important things that I can do to make this big old goal actually happen. The first thing is giving my personal brand its own home. And this has taken a lot of thought because my personal brand touches almost every single part of my business. And for me, that is a problem when it comes to scaling. I want my business to be able to live without me, to live a long time. Even, this sounds a little morbid, but like even after I'm gone, I want to be able to pass it down to my daughter. So one thing that I'm doing is separating it. And I know I've been talking a lot about decentering myself from my business, but I don't want you to assume that this means I won't be creating content anymore. It just means that I'm compartmentalizing things to look a little bit different. So instead of my personal brand being the fuel for every single stream of income I have, my personal brand will kind of live on its own, and we will start to refine some of my offers and my company Simplement & Co., which is where my top 3 notebook and productivity products are sold, that will live on its own as well. And then as for my personal brand, I am so excited to start a podcast and to house a lot of my personal branded stuff on Substack. Now, most of you know me from these YouTube videos where I am sharing educational tips or information or inspiration. And I love creating this content, but sometimes I ain't even gonna hold y'all. It does get a little bit exhausting. And I feel like I'm getting to a place where I'm excited to share more of the raw and real thoughts. And that's why I'm really excited to be kind of giving my personal brand its own little home on Substack, especially through my podcast series, Erin Unfiltered, that I'm going to be rolling out really soon. So this is a series that is going to be just my unfiltered thoughts, just candid, raw, real truths, streams of consciousness that I have. And honestly, there's really no niche for it. It's just me getting my thoughts out. But most of all, it's going to be a place where I can take you behind the scenes of how we run Erin on Demand, how I'm balancing things as a mother, as a wife, and as an entrepreneur, scaling beyond my influence. So Erin Unfiltered is entering the chat. Big but here. Anytime you decide to start something new, and this is the challenge of being a creator, it's like, oh my gosh, this is another thing to manage. This is another platform that I gotta film for, edit, and do all of these things. That is why I love Riverside. It has become one of my favorite content creation tools, and I'm about to tell you why. I really did not realize how much is packed into Riverside because I always thought it was mainly just for podcasts, but I quickly learned that there are so many other features that really make the content creation process a lot smoother, a lot faster, and just very seamless. It's very beginner friendly, and it just kind of brings the fun back to creating content and editing again for me. So I'm gonna share my screen and show you some of my favorite features. We are inside Riverside. One of my favorite features is the text-based editing. This is so convenient because you're able to read the full transcript of your video, whether it's an interview, a podcast, just a regular YouTube video, and you can go in there and you can highlight text and it will automatically grab it on the timeline. Another thing I love is their AI producer, which has a bunch of different features. One of my favorite is the silence remover. So if you hover over these 2 dots, you can see this pause is 1.8 seconds. So they have 2 dot pauses and they have 1 dot pauses. The 1 dot pauses, I believe, are half a second. And if it has 2 dots, it's over like a second or a second and a half. So I'm going to click the 2 dots and I'm going to remove all the pauses that are at least 1.5 seconds. So I'm going to apply that. This saves so much time because you don't have to worry about going in and deleting a lot of pauses. I love to delete any silence in videos because I like my videos to move at a little bit faster of a pace. Another amazing feature is their automatic captions feature. So if you toggle on the side, they have a bunch of different caption fonts and layouts and animations, and you can pick whichever one goes best with your brand. I like this one, but I also want it to match my brand colors. So you can go in here and you can change the color. You can put your own custom color code in here and make it really aligned with your brand. Even the outline color can be changed. This is a great way to customize your videos to be on brand. You can also add your own logo, which is nice if you want to add a little logo button to the corner. So there's just lots of ways that you can customize your content with Riverside, and it just makes editing so easy and seamless. Click the link in the description to try Riverside for free and use code ONDEMAND for 15% off when upgrading your account to a paid subscription. Also, Riverside is running a Black Friday sale, so if you're watching this when that promotion is going, that will be linked down below as well. Thanks to Riverside for sponsoring this portion of the video. Now let's get into the rest of the tips. The second thing that I've done to help my business survive without me, and you guys, please know that this is all still a work in progress. Like nothing is completely done yet. These are steps that I'm taking and kind of sharing in real time. But the second thing is differentiating how I actually show up for my personal brand versus my business. Now, I know it sounds kind of similar to the first thing. The first thing is separating the two. But when you separate the two, it's kind of like, well, how do I then know how to show up for each of these authentically without there being so much overlap to the point where it's like, why isn't this just one page? You know, like I don't want our business page to feel like it's my personal page. And I also don't want my personal page to feel like it's completely my business's page. So I actually hired a project manager who has been so helpful in compartmentalizing my audience demographics for each thing that is a goal that we have. So we are always looking to expand the audience, which can feel like a lot of pressure, but once you actually decide who am I talking to, it makes it so much easier to figure out how you're actually going to show up for those people. So when it comes to Erin on Demand, we decided that I really want to show up for influencers who are already making money from their influence, who are looking to scale beyond themselves. That is a big group of people that I want to talk to and reach. Another subgroup of that is I still want to talk to beginners, people who are aspiring content creators who want to know what life as a content creator and entrepreneur and juggling those two things looks like. And aside from that, for my business, how am I showing up for my top 3 company? Now, top 3 is all about being a retired procrastinator, which is like a fun laid back planner company because I just always felt like planners were so detailed and they had too many spaces to write on in the planner, and I just never used all of that. I felt like I was wasting money with planners because they always had too much in them. And so I really decided with Simplement & Co. to simplify the planning process and make it accessible for people who were kind of like me, who, you know, wanted to be organized, but we're still a little rough around the edges. And so that is how I want to show up for my top 3 brand, you know, sharing kind of the messier side of things, how sometimes things don't always go the way I plan, how sometimes I am running late, how I am trying to juggle all of these hats that I'm wearing, and you know, just kind of showing up in a more relaxed, fun, kind of satirical way in that content. So figuring out what are the differentiators based on who we're trying to reach with each thing has been very helpful. So I highly recommend if you feel like you have a lot of ideas or a lot of things you want to share in your content, figure out a way to compartmentalize them and kind of put them all in one document together to see how and where they overlap. So when it comes to that, I have been working hard to differentiate Erin on Demand versus Erin the Retired Procrastinator, which would be how I show up for top 3. And the third thing is outlining a content strategy. Now that I have differentiated my personal brand and my business brand, it's time to figure out how those things work together. So for my personal brand, I'm really leaning into Substack, having a newsletter, having an intimate community over there, and having this Erin Unfiltered podcast over there where I can really just be my rawest, truest self, not really worrying about target audience and all of these things and strategy and this, that, and the third. Now, of course, there will be some of that involved, but I feel like that's the place where I will really get to let my personal brand flourish. My YouTube channel and my Instagram are going to be a marriage between my personal brand and my business brand, showing up a little bit more polished, a little bit more strategically, while still adding those elements of personable personality, fun, family, Erin, all of the things. And lastly, the top 3 page has its own Instagram and TikTok where I'll be leaning more into testimonials, UGC content, influencer content, and all of that kind of stuff. So I'll definitely be showing up on those pages, but I won't be the main thing. And honestly, that's the goal of all of this, is to position yourself in your personal brand to where people are attracted to you for something, and then creating a business that is bigger than you. Of course, you're to some extent the face of that business, but that business can live without your face. So with my personal brand, that's been the whole conversation that I've been having. Having a personal brand-based business where you are so front and center in the brand, you're so ingrained, you're so attached. You can't run the business without yourself. If you were to take yourself out of your personal brand, what would be left of it? You can't really monetize that. So I am super excited to have these differentiators and to be just working through all of this, because in my opinion, if I want to become a millionaire in a year, and not just a millionaire for the sake of just having $1 million, but a millionaire who has a sustainable business where I am not giving up so much time in exchange for money, at least not long term. Of course, when you're first starting a business, you're going to be heavily ingrained in it, but that's the goal, is to have something that has longevity, that builds legacy, and ultimately I can, like I said, pass down to my daughter or my children someday. So that was a mouthful, but if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know if there are any other things that you want to see regarding the Millionaire in a Year series, because we are still going with the Millionaire in a Year series. Y'all know I just had a baby, so it's been a little bit chaotic, but I want to make sure we're getting this content out. So let me know what video ideas you want to see, and make sure you check out Riverside for all things editing, for your content to get that seamless editing process going. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.